So our today's question was find the minimum area to cover all once one, and you have to find the rectangle with the smallest area. Okay, so you have to find the written minimum possible area of rectangle. Okay, so you are given a matrix that only has 1 and 0. Let's understand the question and solve it. Okay, so let's see about this question, about this example. Okay, this is the matrix and you have to find the area of the rectangle. Okay, and with cover the all the ones. Okay, we don't care about 0, we have to cover all the ones. Okay, in this case there is 5 ones, we have to cover all the ones. Okay, so you can take like that. Okay, you can take this area because we want a rectangle, and rectangle is always like that. Okay, this is like rectangle is not, and the area of rectangle is nothing but height into breadth. Okay, and in this case what is the height will be this. Okay, so we want, if you want to cover all the ones, this is the rectangle. Okay, and the height of this rectangle is 2, and how you can say this is the height. Okay, how this would come, you can say this is the starting row and this is the ending row. If you minus ending row minus starting row and plus 1, if you do, you get the 2. How? Let's say this is the starting row. Okay, and this is the ending row. Okay, mm, and why this is the starting row, this could be also the starting row, but in this first row there is no one, so we don't consider our starting row. We want area to be minimum. Okay, so our starting row will be minimum. Okay, our starting row has to be minimum and our ending row has to be maximum. Okay, and this could be also area. We can to take our ending row also this, because but in our last row there is no one. Okay, so we can take that we want our area to be minimum, so these values also has to be shrink, so our area will be maximum. Okay, so to cover all the ones we want our row this, and we don't want this we are not considering our last row because our last one occurrence was in this row. Okay, so if you just subtract ending row minus starting row plus 1, that would nothing but 2 minus 1 plus 1 was 2. Okay, so our height will be 2. This is how we can calculate our height. Okay, for our breadth. Okay, so this is our breadth. Okay, this is our breadth, and how we can calculate that, we can calculate this is our starting column and this is our ending column. Why this is our starting column? Because in first column there is no occurrence of while, so we don't want that. Okay, and in our ending column, this is our ending column. Okay, so in this, why this is not our ending column? Because in this column there is no occurrence of one, and we want our ending while ending column and starting column has to be shrink. Okay, so our area would be minimum and we want our area would be minimum. Okay, so this is our starting column and this is our ending column. Okay, this is our starting column and this is our ending column. That's why we can say, okay, so let's calculate our breadth. Okay, so ending column minus starting column plus 1. Okay, that is our answer. Okay, that is nothing but 3 minus 1 plus 1, that is 3, and the breadth would be 3. Okay, so this is kind of a greedy question, not greedy, but if you want our area to be minimum, our starting column and ending column has to be shrink. Our starting column has to increased. Okay, so how we can solve this question? Very easy. We just want to calculate our starting row, ending row, starting column and our ending column. We just calculate that. Okay, and how we can calculate that, let understand. Okay, so okay, we want our starting row to be minimum. Okay, so when we want our starting row to be minimum, so we can take it maximum value, and every time we got our ones. Okay, when we got our 0 we don't care. Okay, when we got our ones we just update our starting row to it. Okay, so let's see. So our starting, first of all, our starting row will be the maximum value. Okay, so just let's see infinity. Okay, so what what would be the answer when we got our one? Okay, we want take minimum starting row. Okay, starting row was starting, so we want this value to be minimum. Okay, so when we got here, we are updating our value to starting row will be 1. Okay, when we go here, our starting row will be still same because the row was same. Okay, when we come here, okay, so we want our starting row to be minimum. Okay, so this was covered by ending row, so we are not updating it. We want this value minimum. Okay, so our starting row will be 1, right? When we come to our ending row, we want this value to be maximum. Okay, this was like our, this is upper bound and this is lower bound, this is upper bound. Okay, so we want this value to be maximum. Okay, so we are initializing this value by some -1 value. Okay, some negative value. Okay, so we want this maximum. Okay, so when we come on this one, so we are updating, we want a maximum value, and this is 0 is greater than -1. Okay, so we are updating it. When we come to this, our start ending row was still here. Okay, when we come on this one, okay, so this was second row, and say 2 was greater than 0. Okay, so our ending row was increased. Okay, and for these two, our ending row was still 2. Okay, now for this, we want this value to be minimum. Okay, so for starting column, we want this value to be minimum, so we can initialize by infinity. Okay, so when we come on this one, okay, our starting column value was infinity and we want this value minimum, so we can update it. Okay, we can update it and to 1. Okay, so this was 1, right? This is our intuition. Okay, we want this value to be minimum, this value to be maximum, and when we come on uh, this one, our we want our starting column to be minimum. Okay, the starting column value was 1, and this was 3 was not smaller than 1, so we are not updating it. So our starting column will be this. Okay, for our ending column, we want this value maximum, so we are initializing with -1. When we come on this one, our value going to be 1. Okay, when we come on this one, we want maximum value, so our ending column was going to 3. Okay, that's how we are doing it, and let's now code it. Okay, code this solution and you will understand very clearly. Okay, so let's see. And what's grid dot length, let calculate n and m. Okay, was log 0 dot length. Okay, so our starting row we want this value minimum, so we can take maximum value. Okay, and starting row, what will the maximum, the last row, what's the maximum? Okay, beyond that there is no way, so we can say this is our starting row. Okay, and ending row, what is our ending row? Ending row will be 0. We want this value to be maximum, so we can take the opposite values. Okay, if you want maximum, we can take minimum. Okay, and our starting column will be m-1, and our starting ending column will be 0. Okay, we like our starting row has to be minimum, so we are taking maximum value for now, and for that we are also taking. Okay, ending row we want maximum value, so we are initializing all the value by opposite value. If we want maximum, we are initializing it with minimum value. Okay, so now we are traversing on the grid. Okay, plus int j equal to j less than m j plus plus. Okay, when we are on 1 j, if it the value will be 1. Okay, so we are updating it. Okay, so starting row, what will be the our updation? Mat dot minimum of starting row comma I, right? And for ending row, what will be the updation? Maximum, we want this value to be maximum. Okay, ending row comma I. Okay, so we are updating our starting row and our ending row. Now our starting column will be mat dot minimum of starting column comma j. So j will be our column. Okay, and ending column will be maximum value. Okay, maximum value, like low, our upper bound was this. Okay, ending column comma j. So we are updating it. Now we want to calculate height and width. Height will be nothing but ending row minus starting row plus 1, and our width, height into breadth. So our breadth was nothing but ending column minus starting column plus 1, and we can return height into breadth. Let's see if it is worse or not. Yeah, it is working. Let's try to submit it. Okay, thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, then subscribe.